Ladies and gentlemen, we have gathered here today to witness these two souls competing in a best of 7 on the game of StarCraft 2. On the top right side we have a blue Protoss player fighting for Alpha X. It is Astrea, the NA hero. Bottom left side, his opponent. Wearing the red face paint right now, it is Team Liquid's ever so marvelous Frenchman, Clem. Thoughts on IEM Katowice? I mean, it was everything we were kind of hoping for, right? That was pretty darn amazing. A lot of what we were expecting as well. Cyril deserved it. I mean, come on, Cyril, he was playing it out of his mind that entire tournament. It was quite spectacular to behold. Does feel like he definitely prepped up a lot, and you know what? These two players had a pretty good showing in the Katowice as well. It was fun seeing both of them there. You know, I don't know. Astrea wanted to do more. He wanted to advance further than he had gotten. Right, that was kind of the goal he was set out to do. Couldn't quite make it. But you know, seeing the competition there, it is so incredibly tough to break through into those upper echelons. So many incredibly motivated, incredibly dedicated amount of players just trying to you know, grab that top seed of the best player at events like that, and well, it's rough. Which makes it ever so much more impressive what Cyril does so consistently, right? When you think Cyril peaked, he pulls out that performance. Yeah, I mean, it's rough to say, right? As a spectator of the sports of StarCraft 2, I feel like it is very, very difficult to say when someone's peaked in a way, right? Because, how do you say this? There's so many different little variations, right? And so many little tiny things that could go wrong. A little micro there, you didn't notice that on the minimap. And where do I want to go with this? It's hard for us to say, like, is the player just playing bad, or did he just feel like he kind of got unlucky with what was going on in the series build order-wise? How he didn't notice something, was that the entire thing? But maybe they feel like the rest is still playing up to their standards, or maybe above their standards, right? And then just because the rest of the player base is improving as well, yeah. You can't make direct comparisons with the older games in a way. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. Little Reaper getting caught. Bye-bye, Mr. Reaper boy. Getting all philosophical here, I guess. The game of StarCraft will do that to me. So after a Stargate straight into the Twilight Council here from Astrea, he made an Oracle, which is flying across the map right now. The amount of Marines is 5. We have a Hellion and a Viking actually about to be ready as well. So that Viking should be the protector it needs right now. Astrea a bit paranoid about Widow Mines, I suppose, as well as maybe what is coming out of that starport. Decides to kind of just head on home and recall the Oracle. Dealing with the Hellion that was harassing the mineral line. 3 probes go down because of him. Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, he did see it beforehand. A little status trap in the middle. Never hurts. Clem switching his barracks onto the tech labs. Looking to see what kind of follow-up plans he has. One engineering bay about to complete for him. Could be starting the weapons upgrades there. The other side, well, going up to 4 gates with the blink upgrade here for Astrea. So something that Clem, I guess, not really aware of, right? He doesn't know that the Twilight was directly created afterwards. Maybe the absence of other air attacks, right? Just it not being there could give away. There's not much being created out of that starport, but other than that, Clem pretty stuck up in his own base. Not really in a position to send a lot out there. He has the Hellion, I suppose, right? Could try to do some poking with that, but decides to play it safe for now. Till he has mustered enough of a force, as well as those medevacs will be coming out, of course. Which is about to happen, so should be good. Love the little one marine at the front, of course, ready to catch any status trap that may or may not be out on the field. Astrea comes in with a small group of 8 stalkers. Starts hitting up the probe line. As Clem approaches even further, immediately setting off the status trap right there. This could be problematic for Astrea. Does have to recall those stalkers. Has them back, but doesn't really have any shield battery. That's a dangerous situation here with that much firepower coming out of those marines. Astrea with a single shield battery there. I think he may have been alright, but even one in the main base, and so that gets quite utterly devastated as well. 16 probes, a good amount of stalkers being shot down. Zealots, well, mostly surviving, but maybe they'll later on wish they hadn't. To bear witness to the economy of the Protoss collapsing. Down to a similar work account as the Terran. It's not the greatest. I guess it's taken Clem not an enormous amount of time to get to that third base, but longer than Astrea. It is, however, available now, so Astrea really only a matter of seconds until he does not have that advantage anymore. Reducing 3 workers, of course, at the same time. Clem maybe having, well, quite the party here. Is it going to break Astrea? Very well may. Astrea's not all too careful. Looks like he has been able to break this. I thought more reinforcements for Clem would be arriving as a stream throughout that battle, or at least as they were trying to kite away. With that amount of Widowmines there, didn't really occur. I'm just sending out small forces, maybe still worried about Zealot run-bys of the sorts. So just slowly trades with the Protoss here, which is absolutely fine, right? As long as you keep Astrea on this gateway army, there's not much else he can do. He needs to try and get himself up to a higher tech, where he will have some sort of AoE splash damage, i.e. the Storm or Colossi, Disruptors, anything. This could become quite a bit of trouble. Clem in a profitable enough position where he can just keep trading out like this. Be absolutely happy. He's going to keep gaining strength with this type of army, as Astrea is sinking all his resources into staying alive. Having a hard time to spending it anywhere else. Made a 4th Nexus, which is a step in a good direction, but seeing Clem even unburrow the Widowmines, that is a little bit of a scary sight to behold. The shield battery overcharge is there this time, but gets depowered quite quickly. The Nexus under heavy barrage of Marauder shells. More Stalkers are showing up here. Were those actual Phoenixes? I think they were. Maybe hallucinated. I don't think they were. I've not seen a single anyway, they dragged some pretty okay Widowmine shots is what it came down to. More reinforcements coming in this time around. Clem looks like he is just absolutely wave assaulting this. Just full blast mode. Open up the tab. Let the flow of units rush across the map here. Astrea still desperate to hang on, but yeah, it's Writing was on the wall there for a little bit. Previous game didn't quite go his way, but we still have faith that he can take some of these matches off of the opponents on the other side. And maybe on a good day, you know, might even be able to make the victory happen here. Is that this day, however? We'll have to wait and see. It's Astrea from Alpha X. Top left, Liquid Clem hanging out as a red Terran player. Going for a semi... Well, if this was his opponent's space, this would be a proxy Rex. Now it's more like a self-proxy Rex, you know? A self-inflicted proxy Rex, in a sense. If you want to get technical, I think that's the way you have to describe it. Yes, 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 yes. Little probie coming in. 2 gas as well being taken for Clem. Astrea's looking to whether or not take that Nexus. Goes for the Cybercore first, but still decides for a pretty quick Nexus there. Confident that his opponent would never do something too horrific to him. Making a Zealot though, just to be sure. I mean, to be fair, with the 2 gas being taken there, like, what really can Clem do, right? I guess he could not mine gas. And then, you know, super mind game Astrea in a way, going just 4 racks or 3 racks. How many racks can you do in one base again? Well, more than 1, that's for sure. Remember in the old days, like, wasn't there like a 6 racks build off of 1 base? Something like that, something ridiculous. A TLO made. Which was funny because this was like something, I believe, right after he switched from Zerg to Terran. This was one of his builds that he would do. Somewhere on his timeline he came up with it anyway. I'm not... he switched back and forth a couple of times if I'm not mistaken. Well, Astrea checking to see what he can make happen here across the map. Wants to figure out what his opponent is up to as well, of course, seeing those Widow Mines. Well, singular Widow Mine at the moment. Now 2 Widow Mines, of course. Should give him a little bit of a heads up. Reaper on the other side. Is that still going contested? There is a shield battery here, so should be fairly safe. More Widow Mines being constructed. Astrea trying to get a look at what it is. This is another Widow Mine. I'm not 100% positive if he could say that was one just created or if that was one of the older Widow Mines, but he's gonna have to make do now. Since in the Zealot trying to sacrifice the Widow Mine shot. Stalkers on a pretty decent job here. Killed off a Marine out of Supply Depot. Broke sets off the Widow Mine. The Widow Mine drop now in the natural base. Astrea just gonna try to target that down. Ooh, the Stalker actually caught himself in a little bit of trouble. New Stalker does come into play. There's the new Widow Mine now in the main base. On the other side of the field, the Stalkers are still kind of shooting away, killing some Marines. As both of them die. Where does that leave us? 6 probes in total. Still more than I would have liked to have seen be lost in that situation, but 7 actually. Wait, how did that work? Didn't it say 7 over here? Interesting. Maybe he shot one of his own? And it doesn't... I don't... Well, whatever it was. Whatever it may have been. He lost 6 or 7. And yeah, I feel like that could be a bit of trouble overall as when you're playing against someone like Clem. It's not as bad as losing this in the previous game, I would say. Seeing how he still has that third base coming up, it's going to be a while before Clem makes any preparations for a third base. Right. It's going to be a while. So Astrea should have a little bit of a moment there to kind of push him back on front of the work account. That and, well, he's still being a nuisance across the map here with these units. Trading out. Okay, doesn't lose those 2 Stalkers. 10 Marines, a medevac, a Reaper, the Widow Mines, a supply depot. Does kind of slow down Clem's build order, I suppose, overall, if he wants to go for a push. By how much, really? Astrea once again on the way to Clem's base. Wants to stay active with the Stalkers, and I can't say I blame him. Seeing how the previous game kind of went. Maybe being caught off guard by a Marine attack. Feels like he just has to stay proactive here. Is there a leg spike here? Oh, I guess there is. Well then, Astrea having a little hiccup. Just in time, we got ourselves a flurry of gateways being popped down. Johnny Balling, I see. Hello. Enthusiast, nice. It is nice, isn't it? Get Real also says, yeah, good. You see, people agree with me here. I might be right at some point about something. Let's see. That's a lot of Terran coming in, isn't it? That really is. Third base behind it, so not entirely committed. Protoss units on the board right now. 10 Zealots, 6 Stalkers, 3 Sentries strong. We'll have to see some force fields being utilized here, but where are the choke points where you can still really utilize those Sentries to delay this Terran push? I don't think there's really any. He's already in a deadly position right now, in between your bases, making it incredibly difficult to defend this. The force field's actually kind of just protecting the siege tanks there for a little bit. The anti-armor missile making this an even more awkward moment for Astrea. Not sure if he wants to go in with that going on, of course. Right, does clean up the siege tanks, but the probes, they aren't having a great day on the job. A lot of them do get destroyed. Astrea once again finds himself at the mercy of the Marines of Clem, gunning down the probe line quite quickly. Yes. Right. Okay. Another very deadly push there from the Terran. Astrea behind on the workers right now. Lost 28 in total. Actually, almost 1,000 more minerals lost right now for Astrea. He is on a gateway 4, so I mean, maybe he finds a way to macro himself out of this. He needs to find a really good trade though with his army here. The Zealots and the Stalkers. If he gets on top of these siege tanks before they're sieged, for example, that could be quite a prize. More and more Marines are joining in the fray here, and they are scary units against Zealots, of course. What's the current score? Oh, right, yeah, of course. I'm sorry, there we go. We're in game number 2. Zealot drop in the main base. Alright, let's see the reaction of Clem. How much does he send? Very small batch of units. The rest of the batch of units here, look at that, the siege tanks unsieged, pretty good trade. All the Zealots surrounding the Marauders and the final units right now. Clem losing a bunch of stuff in the main base. 13 SCVs go down. Astrea, he finds himself quite a well, I don't want to say miraculous play, but a very fine, nifty found access right there into the main base with the Warp Prism, distracting Clem, and then at the same time sending in those Zealots. A classic 1-2 punch as Clem, you know what, he does take it to the chin. That's all that matters. Taking a good chunk of damage. Astrea now finds himself on fighting grounds once again, but not quite sure if he can afford already to lose a large chunk of assets there. Quite a couple of Stalkers going down as well as the Warp Prism. A little bit of a blow there once more taken by our Protoss. Just when he finds himself a little bit of breathing room, clamps down on it quite quickly. +1/+1 available for him as well, as Astrea now starting up the +2 weapons upgrade. See, another move out. That Nexus not quite ready to defend itself yet. Could still be cancelled though. Might be the right play to make. Might not be the play you want to make right now, but you're gonna have to. It's just not a Terran army you can face at the moment. Would like to see him make a move for another base somewhere else, but the base I was thinking about, right, the top right, which is the logical base for him to take next once this one gets targeted down. Clem already sending some units towards the perimeter there. Zealot on the left flank as well. Looking for potential mining happening in that location for Clem. Zealot run by finding the medevac drop. So this push for actually both of them coming in to clear out some watchtowers. Will meet armies near the front side of Clem's base. Clem here with a formidable force. I'm not sure if Astrea wants to try and take a fight here. Tries to force field away the Terran army. This might be a little bit too much. Loses the Colossus quite quickly. The Stalkers taking a beating as they're running away from the stimmed Marine Marauder ball. Siege tanks even now starting to siege up as this fourth base once again is gonna have to be forfeited. But actually no, Astrea tries to make the fight happen. Does he have enough to make it though? I'm not entirely certain. There's still a lot of Marine Marauder left, as well as the siege tank on the high ground. That does get taken out now, though. Managed to do a couple of extra shots there before it was squashed by the Zealots. Raven joins in, and that is the banner carrier for the other Marines and Marauders running across the hill, ready to help their Terran ally to destroy and rip the world off this Nexus right here. Does not want Astrea to have that fourth base. Zealots coming in from behind, but I don't think it's going to matter anymore. Clem takes game number 2 and is looking pretty smooth doing it. Another game, another shot. The blue Protoss in the bottom right side. Not out of it just quite yet. Still has 2 lives remaining. How will they work out for him? Let's wait and see. From Alpha X, it is Astrea. His opponent still sitting high and mighty on 4 lives remaining in this best of 7 series. We have the one and only Liquid Clem. Thinking to myself, like, wait a moment, is that right? How can he still be on 2 lives and the other one's still on 4 lives? But it makes sense, right? It's best of 7. You'll never go to a score of 4-4. Right, I probably shouldn't have said anything like that. Now people realize I'm... that's the type of thing I'm concerned with when doing that type of stuff. Alright, well. Barracks this time around for Liquid Clem, a little bit closer to the Protoss base. Still not entirely committed to the other side of the map, but wouldn't be too surprised if that is a Reaper coming out quite quickly. Could still be a tech lab as well. Actually goes straight for the Marine. As well as a factory. Okay. Okay, starting to get a little bit more wild in this one. It's not something we get to see every day. Astrea is still going for the Nexus here. Does of course make the safety first Cybercore as well as the super safety Zealots. Can provide a little bit of aggression as well later down the line, of course, when you, like we saw in that previous game, the Stalker and the Zealot coming across still managed to do a little bit of work there. Or, excuse me, 2 Stalkers. It was 2 Stalkers. Starting to march once more. Starports in the main base of this little Frenchman. It's Clem, there we are. That's what he was trying to hide right now. 2 Hellions being produced off the reactor. They will be arriving quite quickly. Normally, with this type of thing, you would proxy the starports if you're planning to bring in those Hellions. So I'm guessing he's not planning to fly in those Hellions. He is just driving straight up into the natural base before anything is really done. There's a single Stalker there, but it's going to take a while for a single Stalker to kill these Hellions. The Hellions, you know, great probe splitting from Astrea. They are having a tough time finding a lot of kills here. Great body block there from Astrea as well. Trying to minimize the losses right now. Clem doesn't let him get off that easily. Still manages to pick up 6 of them. Things were still difficult. Kind of right there. It's a show match. Yes, it's a best of 7 show match. Giving these players just you know, a shot at a little bit of extra pocket change in the middle of the weekend. 4 Widow Mines in this bad boy right here. Gonna load up quite a bit of destruction, you would imagine. Quick eyes, though, from Astrea. Does split pretty much immediately. The burrow and burrow micro quite annoying for Astrea. It takes a long while for him to be able to send those probes back to mining. Still 1 Widow Mine there, of course, as... actually, decides to save it instead of shooting that 1 probe right there. Hopefully he won't come to regret that. Phoenix now on his tail might be too much to handle. And it is, yeah. Okay, okay. That was pretty good. That was pretty good for Astrea. He lost 11 probes, sure. But, I mean, Clem's second base only now just finished up. The third base for Astrea is gonna go onto a gold base, and it's already on the way. Second base and the main base have been producing probes pretty much non-stop, so Astrea on a pretty reasonable economy. Has the Oracle here as well. The scouting reactor, not gonna find anything so far. Wow, who makes 3 Vikings right off the bat? It dealt with that Oracle very quickly, that's for sure. No, just seeing how easy it was to deal with an Oracle with 3 Vikings, I might make the switch. I might try it out myself sometime as well if I know there's a Stargate on the field. Once again, the gateway heavy style going to be implemented here from Astrea. Strategy that nice kind of really going to the extremes with. Has been doing that for a while as well, even before Katowice. Maybe even before some other big tournaments, back when he was still in Alpha X as well. But he made it work. It does appear that more and more Protoss are relying on the gateway forces a little bit longer nowadays. In particular, just a large quantity of zealots. Staying a bit longer on just pure minerals, right? No second gas or second base gases, stuff like this. Allowing you to expand a bit quicker, get your economy a bit more of a boom right off the bat. A kickstart, as you will. It does leave you perhaps a little bit vulnerable here in this scenario. There's SCV's been pulled, actually. I wasn't really anticipating that. Only kind of now just realizing that this is happening. Clem did not want the gold base to provide any more minerals to Astrea here. And Astrea in very severe threat of losing that Nexus. It does go down. This drop overall, I highly doubt that it's going to go down. Trying its best to micro away from the Zealots right here. Astrea might still be able to make a counterattack happen, though. That's still a lot of Zealots. The Siege Tank's nowhere in a position to make a defensive stance on that ground right there. Astrea is still pushing further and deeper into the territory. No, actually, starting to head out now. Just when you say it, you know, that's when it happens. Rebuilding the gold base. Was it a mistake trying to go for the gold base? It was pretty far away. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. I think it would have been pretty good with the overall gateways, right? Getting extra zealots out there with this strategy is really good. That's kind of the crux of this type of play. You want a lot of minerals, so the gold base perfectly kind of aligns up with your goals right there. But yeah, it is a bit more exposed. Prone to be taken out. Clement, again, took him a long time to get that second base because he did go for a 1-1-1 before his command center, if I'm not mistaken. At least he made the barracks in the factory before the command center. That I definitely noticed. And imagining the starports came in before as well. Seeing how quickly the Widow Mine drop came in after the Hellions. But yeah, I could be wrong. So even though Clem not really haven't taken a lot of economic damage here, his economy is not all up to snuff. It's in a good spot, a good enough spot. He has an insane macro after all, this little Frenchman, so not to imagine it being out of place, but I don't think we're in such a bad spot as we were in the previous games, right? It's kind of what it comes down to. Barracks 4 and 5 now done as well. So that will be the signal, it seems, for Clem to start taking up more space out and about on the map. Single Zealots causing already a bit of trouble there. Gets himself 2-3 SCVs for his troubles. Not bad at all. Clem immediately back on marching duty again, and this time around 2 Zealots appear. One for the Widowmine. Look at that! Dragging it right into those SCVs. Wonderful play. Gets a couple of them on low HP and clears the way for the other Zealots later down the line, I suppose. The 2 Zealots. Yeah, there it is. Well, 7 SCVs in total. Again, it only says 6 here, so there you go. These are some great force fields. Quite a lot of trouble going around. A lot of SCVs have been destroyed. A third base for Astrea. Gonna get evacuated. Decides to take something a little bit safer onto the high ground. Having second thoughts about whether or not he should engage this perhaps. A couple of his Zealots not getting the order straight. Being a bit confused there. Losing a good chunk of them could hurt him if Clem does decide to move any further. Oh, those Widow Mines are massive! Oh, Astrea! Kind of just moving blindly forwards. Stalkers taking the brunt of the assault, though. Is that still enough zealots now to take out the Terran? No, it does not appear to be the case. But that was devastating. That was so much damage he was taking right there. It does appear like Astrea just has these moments where, man, when he needs to watch his army, he just isn't, right? That's one of those random things that can happen in StarCraft 2. Like, oh no, he just moved barely close by enough, so we pulled aggro again from my zealots, and, well, there you have it. With the mines back in action. Again, getting a connection with the zealot right there. No observer available to take this out. There's the recall one. Nevertheless, Astrea getting up to full base. Clem kind of is as well, though. Keeping that economy game quite tight. It's been a while, a couple of minutes where we've been in the 50 range for the amount of workers that they both have. Uncertain, it seems, with the progression of this game a little bit. Wanna play it safe, get the higher tier units out before they make any more economic plays. The ghosts, disruptors. Are we already seeing High Templar? Yeah, there is Templar Archives. That seems to just be for Archons for the time being. Could later down the line still get a Storm, of course, but not in the cards for now. This in the cards is apparently quite the assault once again from the Terran forces here. Astrea gonna have to find himself the perfect angle and the perfect opportunity to rid himself of this Terran army. See, setting up more stuff on the right side. A couple of zealots there. Looking for a potential opportunity there. But this is a bit of a struggle. Those Widow Mines making it incredibly rough. The Disruptors, do not manage to get any connections. The Ghost EMPs making a difficult situation even more difficult. Zealots, alright, there they are, coming in from the back, trying to get some of those Widow Mines to be set off onto the Marines. Can't quite get it. So he's taking, once again, maybe not the fight he wants to. Resources lost definitely in favor for Clem on the minerals. Gas-wise, it is in favor for Astrea, surprisingly enough. The mines in the third base. The new third base. There's another fourth base there. More fighting from both sides right now in the middle. It looks to me as if Astrea is starting to gain a little bit of an upper hand here. Kiting backwards is one of Clem's strong suits. Widowmine drop still kind of going there. Cannon does manage to rid it before it sets off again. As things get further and further on the intensity scale. Building up the pretty much best army both of these players could get. Would still like to see perhaps a couple of Liberators added in from Clem. How many? Well, only has one Widowmine as well, actually. Pretty much pure Viking Marauder Marine production here. Has a good quantity of medevacs as well, as a Ghost Star also available. That's it. Isn't producing anything else. A lot of confidence in just the ability for him to split, control the bio. Does take a little bit of a disruptor shot in the face right there. Definitely not a Terran army that can take a lot of space. Vikings can shoo away perhaps the Colossi, but the Stalkers will always be there, ready to kind of jump underneath. any Viking that gets too uppity. There's no siege tanks either to entirely control those zealots. There's no widow mines here to deal splash damage to those. So Astrea now 20 army supply higher than his opponent. Could theoretically make a play here. Just needs one good disruptor shot. That could turn the battle. Careful for the EMPs, of course, as well. He does get fully blanketed by the EMPs and the disruptors. Well, gets some connections there. Not the best disruptor shots I've ever seen. Colossi now destroyed. Only a few disruptors left. Make a few more attempts here, but yeah, was not really in the cards anymore for Astrea. As soon as those Colossi die, they're a very important asset to have with these disruptor armies. A little bit of a punishing tool for Terrans to try and poke into you. You force them backwards with the disruptors, and then the Colossi really, the long-term poke damage, that makes it all worth it. Astrea definitely trying every trick he can find to get one of these disruptor shots to hit the bullseye, but I'm so far successfully avoiding it. Few Marines through the bottom side of the map. Who gets shot down quite quickly. In the middle once more. This is just a little bit frightening, isn't it? EMPs clenching the backside of those Proto shields every time. How are these Marines still alive? Excuse me, didn't we just see enough units on top of them to die? Huh, well, that was interesting. Clem, the magician. The Marine magician. This thing's settled down a little bit. Little pylon here or there getting destroyed. Only spot a pylons though. 5 Dark Templars being warped in. Now that is a strategy from Astrea that I like to see. Starting to snipe over these zealots right now. That is one way to start gaining efficiency. There's the Liberators, by the way, as well. One of the last tickets kind of missing in this Terran army. Widowmine or Siege Tank would be the last bit, perhaps, but you don't really need it. You kind of need either the Liberators or that sort of splash damage in a way for, well, anything to really pull back into as the Protoss tries to push into you. The Protoss trying to push in here. I'm not entirely certain if this is going to work out. So far, does not appear to be the case. One disruptor shot there to rule them all. That is a blast of a shot. Truly something quite juicy, but I mean, there's still so much Terran here. The Stalkers, although there's an alright amount of them, they just don't really carry their weight anymore. Though just disruptor shots, what was that, Clem? Oh, a little bit of a misclick. I mean, I know there's someone gonna be like, oh, Clem throwing on purpose, but it's such a rough thing to micro against. Taking a shot in the face right there. It looked a little bit funny because, like, he was starting to move against it and then he moved backwards, but you know how that goes. We've all been there, Clem. When you hit yourself on the head, hopefully won't bother Clem too much, as he's still in a good position here, still with a good force, still trading out pretty efficiently. Not that many disruptors left. Liberator-wise, we have 2 remaining. Medevacs doing that due diligence, though, working around the clock, making sure those Marines and Marauders and the Ghost all have healthy livers and whatever else kind of organs they may or may not have. Dark Templar. Starting to find some SCV damage here. EMPs are quite efficient in this sense. Starting up missile turrets here as well now. A little bit of a shame. I was hoping perhaps that Astrea could try to get there as well before those missile turrets were constructed. Of course, I'm in a position where I can clearly see. I can just look around like, where are the missile turrets? Doesn't make sense. He doesn't find all of those things. Fusion core. All right, there we are. Liberator range will be constructed there as well. As Astrea painfully aware of this Terran army, starting to head towards his gold base here. Well, what's left of it. Can't really call it a gold base anymore, I suppose. More disruptors. That's what we came to see. One way. Oh my god, that could have been big. Clem barely, just barely snuffing out the disruptor before it manages to get its shots connected. Shield battery overcharge, having a blast of the time as well as those medevacs right there. Both players kind of healing out. Liberator in the middle, kind of forming a sumo ring. Trying to fight over the control of this area. Let's take out the Liberator. Massive concave has been established now though from Clem as the Stalker's heading out a little bit too far forwards. This might be the moment. Disruptors, I'm not sure how many shots he still has left there. Does one fly forwards, doesn't really manage to land anymore. Clem showcasing why he is the, well, absolute legend that he is carrying with him right now. Why so many revere him as the best Protoss in the outside of Korea area. the small area outside of Korea. Yeah, that was fantastic. Clem, well done. 3-0 so far. In a world of trouble, but not out of it yet. There is a blue Protoss, hailing from the NA region. It is Max Astrea Angel. On the top left side, a red Terran we're all painfully familiar with. It's Liquid Clem. I say painfully familiar. I'm not sure if it's painful, actually. It's pretty delightful having Clem in the scene. But, that being said, you know, sometimes he actually really murders people. And I can't help but feel a little bit of pain here for Astrea for the way this series has gone so far. That proxy barracks has been just slowly going further and further away from Clem's own base. It started close to his base, then it was the middle of the base, and that, or I mean, sorry, close to his, no, he started in his base, right? He started in his base, then he made it just outside his base, then it was in the middle of the map, and now it's close to Astrea's base. Talking about Astrea's base, I don't believe it's here. I don't believe this is your base. That could become a Stargate right there. Is Astrea gonna reveal the true nature of the NA players? Oh boy. Has desperation struck for our Protoss player here? It could work. It's a very strong build, don't get me wrong. Let's see how deep he goes into it. It could just be an oracle, right? It could just be a simple oracle. Nothing else. We're not seeing any pylons being constructed. Oh. Alright, we're seeing just one pylon being. That doesn't say anything. It doesn't mean anything. Alright, now we're going to get ourselves the Void Ray push here. That should be quite something. Clem. Let's see if he can hold this. That is, there it is. The Void Ray actually supply blocks right now. Okay, it does get it started pretty quickly. Of course, we'd like it a little bit sooner. Man, Clem, oh my dear lord, jeez Louise. That micro. This is on the NA server. He's doing perfect Reaper micro that people struggle to pull off sometimes, you know, the highest ranks on their own server, and he's doing it on the NA server. Pretty good, pretty good. Hats off to Clem once again, one of those moments, you know. Astrea trying to target down the tech lab, so the super pew pew cannon laser rockets won't be upgraded there for the Cyclone. Doesn't quite get it as the repair's pretty darn smooth. SCV's realizing they will have to repair that supply depot as well. Does open them up to the Void Rays though. Void Rays starting to target the supply depot as well, trying to open things up for the Zealots. Nice microing backwards for the lock-ons for the Cyclones. Astrea avoids taking any massive damage. Ooh, that could be a lost shield battery though. That could be a bit of a shame. No, does keep it alive just for a little bit longer. And now has a Phoenix. Gets rid of one of the Cyclones here. A lot of the SCVs go down. Still 3 Adepts as well, so Zealot available. Another Cyclone getting hurt a little bit. Might get called out by those Adepts right now from the other side. 3 Adepts, they do one-shot SCVs. More SCVs going down. That is now 8 SCVs behind this. We're seeing a Nexus being taken by Astrea. Not fully committing to this. I mean, it's still pretty committed, but if he doesn't kill Clem, he'll still have a Nexus. That proxy barracks not quite helping out for Clem so far. This is Marines across the map now, but well, quickly picked off by the Void Rays and the rest of the Protoss units right there. 2 shield batteries in the natural base of Clem have been depowered as well. Astrea digging deep in his bag of tricks, and it's paying off so far. New barracks in Clem's base has to be constructed. No sight of a command center anywhere being produced right now. Clem still in full-on survival mode. Spots the Nexus on the other side of the map though. Let's see how he responds, because oh my, actually this is a lot of Phoenix picking up all of these Cyclones. So Widowmine strikes gold though. But that's not going to be enough. GG is called. Astrea takes map number 4. We gonna do a engineering bay block here. Barracks on his own side. Could just be for the scout. Probe is there early as well, trying to see what is going on here. And there is the engineering bay. Gonna be a brawl to get that constructed here. 3 probes in total, ready to to dish out their severe punishment of lightning. I'm coming back for more. What's his plan here? He's gonna drop down a new engineering bay. Okay, does remove himself from the area. Okay. All right. I'll look into definitely changing it, guys. Wait. I'll try to avoid using it here. Alright. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Next up for Astrea will be the Twilight Council. Gonna get himself back into the Blink play. And Clem this time around a triple Rex. We've not seen him go for this just yet in this best of 7. No doubt in anyone's mind though that he has a good opportunity to pull it off. Natural base about to finish up. As well as, yeah, there's the engineering bay. Okay, so most likely getting the 2 tech labs here as Astrea. Well, with his Blink, he wants to try and be on top of that move out of Clem here. He's got to be careful once that stim pack is upgraded, of course. Reaper's finding themselves 2 probes, but just a little in-between message right there from me. But yeah, wants to try and stay close to the Terran entrance with his Stalkers. Try to spot those Marines, poke in as much as he can, whittle down their numbers and utilize the mobility here. Not seeing a factory just quite yet being built, so gonna be a while until we have medevacs here. Most likely going to be a ground push from these Marines. And yeah, the Stalkers still in a position where they kind of hoping to find a medevac, flying in with a couple of Hellions or Widow Mines and just shoot that down. Astrea playing a little bit on the greedy side as well, not really producing the Stalkers at this moment, looking more so for a quick 3rd base. As that could come to cost him quite severely here, as the attack of Clem has been producing non-stop. And only now has been spotted. That observer instantaneously gets knocked out of the sky. Might help Astrea actually a little bit, otherwise he well, was getting close to supply block. Only 2 gateways though make it rather cumbersome. As that pylon's still a little bit ways off of being completed. The Immortal on the way. Sentries definitely making it more difficult for Clem to try and make a push happen here. But definitely making it more difficult for Astrea to feel comfortable taking a 4th base. And seeing how Clem is treating this attack right now, very casually, not even stimming once. It's hard to imagine him ever pushing up that ramp. Maybe trying to bait some force fields as well. Ooh, Stalkers, there we go. Get another Marine. Get them while you can, I say. Need every little edge you can grab against someone like Clem. There we go, gets another 2. Only 17 remain. It's not the greatest losing the Stalker there. Nice spread out there from Clem as well. 1 Colossi might be enough to keep Clem at bay. I think if you find some Marauder there. And yeah, he does seem to be just removing himself entirely from that location. So Astrea putting the fear of God in Clem and having him move back across the map. For the time being, at least. It's always just so much more scary as a Terran player to be moving across without any medevacs there present. I've been doing it that for a little bit, but he did it in a way where it's very secure, you know, never really putting himself in imminent danger or in a position where enough units for Astrea could just run on top of him. Knew when to kind of swayed back and forth, moved back to his own location. Gear up. get a couple of extra boys in with the rest of the squadron, and then start pushing again. This time around, primarily waiting for a couple of siege tanks to join the rank. It's giving Astrea the opportunity, though, to unlock the disruptor in his arsenal as well. Oh. Fleet beacon. Oh, wow. Already a fleet beacon and the +1 air weapons being upgraded for Astrea here. Off of the 3 base, going for it quite quickly. Does have a gold base not too far removed from him. Now that he does have a little bit of infrastructure here, it might be easier for him to acquire that one as well, right? Temple Archives. He's getting all the trinkets for the Protoss arsenal. Clem has Ghost coming out. Doesn't have that many Vikings, but the 3 siege tanks here should do alright against both Disruptors and Colossus. Neither of them really comfortable with pushing into one another, especially through the slow fields over here. Both of them perhaps hoping to catch their opponents on the move towards towards their side of the map, and then take the opportunity to surprise them, and as they're trying to retreat through the slow zones, really punish them. But, well, since both of them were trying to do that, it was quite difficult for either of them to do it. So run by could strike quite a nice mineral line right there. Clem quickly repurposes some of his bioforces towards that location. Clem starts to get dangerously close to the Protoss front. Siege tanks not sieged up. Decides to make a little bit more room to maneuver first and foremost. All within the watchful eye of the observer there, of course. Might not be aware, but seeing one Zealot meet his one Marine that quickly might give him an inclination, as his movements may be visible to his opponents. As, well, we have... You know what, I'm just registering this a little bit late, but there's Tempest. There is a lot of Tempest here on the field. There's 5 of them in total. There's more being constructed. We got ourselves Tempests right now, ready for Astrea. So Astrea is using Tempest Colossi Disruptor with a hefty amount of Zealots underneath as well. Quite the army composition to go for this quickly in the game. A big drop in the main base for Clem. Does get met with the recall from Astrea. Maybe a little bit too much has been recalled. I'm not entirely certain. But yeah, well, looking at that, I'm pretty darn certain that's not enough anymore, Astrea, to defend your gold base here. Clem jumps on the opportunity with his siege tanks. Will take that high ground. Thank you very much. Zealots now will be coming in, spreading themselves out over the bioforces, but there might not be enough to... Well, actually, no, that is actually very much enough. To clear that out. Alright, well, the more you know. The more you know. Was that trade favorable for the Terran, though? Actually, it wasn't. It actually wasn't. We still have so many Tempests available right here. 7 of them. Clem may have been in a position, though, to be fair, where he did want to sacrifice a bit of his army in order to accommodate for the Tempest here better, right? He may have wanted to get himself a couple of Thors, get a couple extra Vikings in order to meet the challenge of this long-range Protoss barrage that he's bound to be facing. Astrea a little bit pacifistic with these Tempests, though, in my opinion. It's a very scary thing to move them about on the map, that's for sure, as they are incredibly slow. But at the same time, they accumulate so much value if you manage to just keep them shooting. They shoot so slow, but it's over such a long range, right? You want to keep guiding and keep utilizing that kind of advantage that they have to the fullest extent if you want to get the absolute most you can out of these units. Now, Astrea is making a transition into carrier, so perhaps he's not planning to win the game with the Tempest. The Tempest was just an in-between to keep the Terran at arm's length. More Disruptors and carriers being constructed. As the Oracle tagging the army of Clem. Will allow those Tempests. There we go. Shooting down Medivacs. That's really good, right? Anything you get over and over again. Gonna be absolutely amazing. You move back. There you go. And Disruptor's going to keep the ground forces at bay. Even getting a pretty good connection right there. There we go. Astrea now starting to really utilize the air forces that he has. Starting to realize that he can make a lot happen with the situation right here. As long as he has vision of his opponents. Doesn't have the most of it right now. A couple of units there on the top, and again starts heading backwards. Still a couple of units in production, so not entirely up to the 200 supply, but will be pretty soon. There we go. There it is. There it already is. Guess he's still making an observe, but we're not gonna count that right now. No, actually he's still got 2 supply. Something died, didn't it? Who knows? This is scary. See, let Clem just slowly build up too much of a counter to his air force. Now, that is my fear. 13 Vikings, a good amount of ghosts there. Still 25 Marines as even a single Thor. Jumping on the opportunity here to shoot at the carriers and the Tempest at long range as well. That is a lot of Disruptors getting targeted down, actually. At the same time, the Zealots... Stalker, probably Disruptables as well, still making connections happen to the ground forces of Clem. Not that much remaining all of a sudden as Clem starts backing up. Astrea once again sitting passively with his Tempest though, deciding not to make any aggressive move outs in this situation. And you know what? I think I'm starting to get his plan. His plan is to just take the entire map. It's let the map just be mined out. Take it as slow as he has to. And as long as he keeps trading favorably here from a distance, he doesn't allow Clem access to both of these bases in the middle of the map, you should be okay, right? You should be okay because he is trading so efficiently. And can you guarantee not giving Clem access to neither of those bases in the middle? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not fully aware that Clem was just in such a rough spot. That could be the case as much, right? Maybe he's just not aware that Clem had so little forces. Maybe he's just overestimating Clem. Which is one of these things, like a superpower these players sometimes have. If they do have a reputation of just absolute insanity, in particular the macro department, sometimes people just overestimate what you might have across the field and then not go for opportunities where, you know, as an observer you can say like, well, this would have been an opportunity. You would have been able to make something happen here. That's the player. You just can't. You're just stuck with your own belief that there's no way Clem wouldn't have something to defend against this. Who knows? Who knows? Well, anyway, Astrea, we're gonna have to wait and see because I'm sure he's not ever gonna just only stick on his side of the field here. He will be trying to make moves at some point in time. Just has to gather up the courage or find a moment where it feels secure enough to really commit across. So far, Mostly Clem being the aggressor here. Astrea making moves again. Starting to head forwards. Might be having a little bit of difficulty maintaining vision over the entirety of Clem's army here. Perhaps just doesn't want to fight away from the static defenses he's building up. Small little fights here or there. Skirmishes in the sky. Interceptors versus Vikings. Let's take another look at the units lost tab right here. Still going in favor for Astrea. Still, neither of these middle bases have been captured. So, ultimately, if it keeps going like this, Astrea in a pretty good position. But just to be careful, every single one of those carriers going down is a whole bunch of money, as well as for those the Tempest. I feel like Clem is aware that he needs to be a little bit more careful with his trading here. He's definitely slowed it down. Starting to ease up on the tensions, trying to play a bit more carefully with the liberation zones. Breathing in through the nose and out the mouth. A lot of liberators here with a lot of Vikings. This is going to be enough. Actually, the Stark is getting a couple of good volleys onto the Viking ball, but I mean, Protoss army starting to... It looks so small now all of a sudden. Then again, where is it? Is it the sky or is it the ground? The Liberators doing a lot of damage, but now the Liberators are going to get targeted down by the carriers. Clem's still here with a couple of Marines, Viking, 2 more Liberators joining in, as well as a couple of Ghosts. Keeps the Protoss at bay. It's somehow, some way, doesn't look like it should anymore, but I guess because there's no interceptors, the Protoss army looking a lot more intimidating than that it actually is at this moment in time. Has to replenish its forces once again. 5 carriers are being produced at the time in cohesion with one another. Popping out with 2 disruptors at a time as well. Could definitely use a wave of 5 carriers right about now. Clem's force is definitely growing a lot quicker seemingly than the ones for Astrea. Clem finally makes a move. The first move we've seen from either of these players for these middle bases. I'm gonna go for the top. And Astrea immediately starts making plans for the bottom base. As long as both of them have one of them, things are still going to, well, according to Astrea's plan. At least if it is his plan. I'm assuming it is. Because that's kind of how he's playing. Finds an opportunity there as well. The Liberator's not sieged up. Tough army position. Oh my god, that was pretty much all of the Ghosts. Oh my dear lord, it was absolutely each and every one of them. Clem without Ghosts in its entirety. This army from Clem now could be in a lot of trouble. Definitely something you need. The Ghost versus those carriers, extremely important. Astrea once again playing a little bit passive in a moment where you're thinking to yourself, is this the moment to play passive? Is this the moment where he could make it work? Is this a moment where we could see Astrea suddenly taking this big macro game and taking matters into his own hands? So far, it's eluded him in this series at least, but there we go. Really poking in now. SCVs are gonna have to live in this waterfall. 7 of them falling straight away quite quickly, and oh my god! Oh my god, did you see that? Oh, War Ghost is being blown up, every single one of them once again. Clem instantly leaves the game. Oh boy. Oh boy, 2 games in a row. There we are. Astrea proving me right once again. There he is. I already said his name. He's from Alpha X. Top right side, we have ourselves a red Terran player fighting for Team Liquid. I almost said Team Liquid Clem. Well, Freudian slip we would call that, huh? Anyway, it is Clem. There's some formidable players in Team Liquid, right? But, I mean, Clem, he's just... ugh. Stuff just starts revolving around him. And if he would be in any team, right? In any team, it would quite quickly become Team Clem. It would be hard not to. If he joins ENCE Esports, you know, it might not be, but... Team NV or something, right? There's a couple, I guess. Or Clash. Who's the pressure on now? It's probably still Astrea. I would assume Clem is still going to be feeling pretty comfortable. As we're seeing, you know, he's not really putting that much effort into scouting. He's setting up an SCV across, but he's still blindly going for the command center. And, well, I mean, I could run around the bush a little bit longer, but there's two gateways over here. There are two gateways over here, and, well, look at what they're producing. They're producing two lovely zealots. Two lovely more zealots about to pop out. Clem could be in a bit of a pickle here. Oh, that supply depot is quite low on the HP. Two zealots could deal with that quite quickly, couldn't they? Yes, sir, they could. Unfortunately, it was only one. One zealot. Second one coming in, wants to wait for his brethren. This is a tough choice to make. This is a very tough choice to make. Doesn't want to really lose these. Trying to only spend shield energy, but... Alright, come on, Astrea. I'm not sure if this is going to work anymore. I think the problem was, in fact, that he tried to chase the SUV building the command center. He tried to get too much here, perhaps. He's building Stalkers now, though, right? I mean, it could still flippity-flop. But then again, he's building a Nexus on the other side, so I feel like he already, you know, decided to flippity-flop the match himself into a different direction. And then maybe we'll get a flippity-flappity at some point after that, you know? That's when the real fun... That's going to be the kicker of this match. The flippity-flappity. Right, well listen, this is such a weird game now. There's an engineering base still on the natural, so the third base had to be taken. As there's still two gateways producing stalkers across the map. Astrea not giving up so easily on this location right here. Just a random SCV leaving the base of Astrea. It's like, yeah, you know what? I've had enough of my vacation. I don't like the climate in the Protoss atmosphere anymore, so I will just leave. Don't know why his SCVs are German, but you know what? That's what it is. Makes sense, right? A French commander should have Germans in the mines. As well as a German should have French miners in a way, I would say. You know, just old rivalries. Little cyclone action there, keeping it locked on for quite a while. Pretty successful. This might be the end of this push though. No, you know what, there's actually warp gate available. Two more Stalkers can be warped in rather quickly here. There's a siege tank. Oh, that could be a lot of damage. The Stray needs to watch out. Two Stalkers. Oh, that's a lot of damage. That's an SCV. That is an SCV. How long has it been there? I don't know. What's his goal? Well, I don't know. Apparently he did like the climate. Apparently Clem, you know, just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. How did he not realize there were going to be two Stalkers there? The siege tank died. This is madness. This is madness. This is absolute madness. He's still taking more tank shots as well. He's gonna have blink pretty soon. He's gonna need these. He's gonna need these Stalkers at high HP. right? And then he can blink onto the siege tank. There's no combat shields. There's no stim pack just quite yet. That blink is going to finish up before then. He could just jump it. He could just jump it. He's trying to avoid a siege tank fire right now. There's 2 siege tanks, of course, making things more difficult, for sure. There's no denying that. Oh, there he goes. That's one of them. The second one. Come on. Is it enough? Getting on top, so doesn't get great splash damage onto the Stalkers, but there's still a pretty good amount of Marines here. Stalkers are good at the micro with this. For 13 more seconds, and then the stim pack is completed. At which point, the Stalkers may be in a bit of trouble. The Stalkers are going to hope they, they have blink available at that point in time. Then again, Clem, looking at it now, miles removed still pretty much from having a good amount of medevacs here to heal up his troops. Has to spend, well, gas on the siege tanks right now, the combat shield, all of it. Astrea has a 3rd base here as well at the moment. Still picking off more Marines. This is, well, is this looking good for Astrea? It is 32 army supply. This could just come across the map right now, couldn't it? It's going to shut down a lot of the production. Astrea will have to spend quite a bit of money on keeping that at a respectable amount of gateways. It's taking a long time to kill off these gateways though, so... And they're helping out Astrea perhaps a little bit, losing a Stalker there. But still trying his hardest to delay this push as much as possible, which is what he needs to do right now. Six gateways about to complete, as well as charge. Combat shield also though. But I think with that amount of gateways and charge done, how many minerals do we have? We are on a good amount of minerals as well. Astrea has the opportunity to break this pretty nicely. Goes in before those gateways kind of finish up and has that big wave of zealots come in though. Tries to break the siege tanks before they were sieged up. Still one siege tank remains right now. Zealots with a shield battery overcharged and the Stalkers fighting for their dear lives. They may not realize as the shield battery is avoiding them from taking any damage, but they are fighting for dear life. You know what? I think they're gonna hold here. I think he's gonna hold. 2 shield batteries over here. The left side a bit exposed. The natural base, nothing there static defense-wise, but how many gateways do we have? That's the big deal, right? 9 gateways. 9 bloody gateways. That is supposed to keep you alive right now. 4th base as well available, coming in for Astrea as he may not realize what is happening actually. Clem, he went for 5 wrecks behind this. There is no hair on Clem's mind thinking about making this into a long game, a macro game. It looks for the time being, not until he deals some damage across the map. Astrea may have to consider cancelling this Nexus. Okay, does go in for the check. He sees there's no 3rd base over here. Now, he could still be thinking there could be a 3rd base over there. That's not a crazy idea. And let's hope he gets a check on it right now. The Zealot, come on, Zealot, come on, run over there. Get your buttocks over there. And now he knows. Okay, no 3rd base still acquired for Clem. And Clem, I thought he was going to try to make a move as quickly as possible, but he's making a Ghost Academy still as well. Fascinating. Clem deciding to sit back in this moment in time, and that could cause Astrea to actually gain quite a bit of value out of this 4th base still. Mining is going to be ludicrously high in his favor with the 4 base versus 2. Astrea, is he looking for a 5th base right now? That would be something. That would be something. Clem, did he never know about this 4th base? I don't think he ever knew. Did he? Well, as soon as he ran his marine in there, he did unsiege all his siege tanks. He's now moving forwards Main base off to the third base with it. We'll have mining operations continue onwards there. Alright. Not bringing the SCVs along. I think, you know, you may as well at this point in time, right? You may as well. It's going to be a make it or break it battle. Astrea with, well, almost a bit higher than 20 army supply above his opponent right now. Is it going to be enough since it's mostly gateway forces? The Zealots from the backside taking a while to activate that charge. The Zealots from the other side now entering the battle fray as well. That is so many Zealots, so many units available for Astrea. This macro game, this fourth base that I thought was a potential lethal mistake, turns out to have brought him lots of minerals and lots of Zealots with it. We'll be raking in the Marines, the Marauders, everything across the map is gonna get taken out right now. Yeah, Clem, nothing can withstand that amount of Zealots anymore. GG is called max. Astrea makes it happen. Fantastic stuff right there. We're going into a game number 7. Yeah, it was off a double gateway rush, right? That didn't really go all too well. Kind of contained Clem for a little bit. Made him make investments into cyclones and stuff, but that's about it. That's about it. Nothing crazy or wild going on this game, though. Both of them showing their true colors here. They're like, you know what? Let's bring it back to the macro. Oh, Clem, wait a moment. Just when you think things are normal. Well, it's not too atrocious, right? Just a little bunker for the Reaper to sit in. Simple battery could suffice there for Astrea to make it go away. Alright, well. Now they're just willingly making things weird once again. Is that a Stargate proxy? It should be, right? Yeah. Oracle, most likely this time around. Nothing with the Void Ray variants, I would say. A little bit late to make that work. Astrea now realizing that is, in fact, a bunker down there. We'll have to figure out a way to get a shield battery up there at some point in time. There we go. That's the minerals available now. Ooh. Camera malfunction. Man, that'd be something, right? If the Reaper is on the wrong side of the fence when the Adept Shade finishes. Hard to imagine Clem making a mistake like that. Oh, losing the Adept, losing the SCV as well. Maybe anticipating the shield battery. Well, I mean, it's going to be completed here, right? But did the Oracle already arrive? I don't think so, right? No, it's still to come. Is 2 Reapers enough to shoot through the shield battery? I don't think so, right? Should be safe for the probes to mine here. Ooh, the Reaper nades, they can bounce them away. Yeah, okay, there's too many probes. There's too many probes. Don't lose the probes. Talking about losing workers, don't lose the SCVs either. That's not the greatest thing here. Not a lot of anti-air available for Clem. Busy microing his Reaper across the map. Losing 4 workers for his troubles. Secondary Oracle about to show up. Where's that Widowmine? Right there, underneath the SCV. Could be coming in. Clem trying to bait him. Astrea. Oh, yeah, he's gonna fall for it. There it is. Bam! One of the Oracles goes down. And he gets 2 more SCVs in that exchange. But, looking at the numbers overall, it's not that bad for Astrea here. Kind of liking his position. He's going to get more value here, perhaps, even. A fresh mule. Oh, that is a lot of Marines, though. To be fair to Astrea, I did not see those Marines there either. I did not see that there was that many Marines. That was a surprise for me. Where did they come from? It's like they all dropped from the mule port as well. That's what it felt like. Losing a Phoenix also. Astrea losing a lot of assets here. A lot of investment. Look at that. 400 more gas loss than his opponents. It's a big investment there for the Protoss player to make. That means we won't have that much for Astrea here. Actually, in fact, looking at the army supply, that was dead zero. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing here standing in the way of Clem just moving on forwards. And just when you think Astrea found himself in a good position, Clem suddenly, well, just walks across the map and proves me wrong. Shield battery overcharge, looking pretty strong though. Won't be strong enough. Won't be strong enough. That pylon is not gonna help out making some more Stalkers. And there it is, boys and girls. GG is called. Astrea losing a couple of valuable units right there. The Oracles, one to the Widowmine, the other one to the Marines, and then the Phoenix in the middle also. May not seem like much, but that could have helped him out a ton, keeping those bases alive. And yeah, oh well. GG is called. Clem takes the series in the end.